Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and Turkey have just signed one of the most significant defense agreements in decades. The pact signed in Mecca, Islam's holiest city, says that an attack on one will be treated as an attack on all, creating a collective defense arrangement among three regional powers. But this isn't just another military agreement. It marks the biggest shift in West Asian geopolitics since the First World War. To understand the significance of these three countries coming together, we have to go back more than 100 years to a secret agreement signed not in Mecca, Ankara, or New Delhi, but in Europe. A deal that drew West Asia with a ruler and a pencil. The deal follows Israel's devastation of Gaza, unrelenting attacks on Lebanon and Syria, Iran's confrontation with Israel and the United States, attacks on Gulf shipping, growing fears over Strait of Hormuz, and increasing doubts in Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia, about whether Washington can still guarantee Gulf security. Against this backdrop, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan have decided they need each other. Think about who these three countries are. Saudi Arabia is the guardian of Islam's holiest cities and an energy superpower. Turkey has NATO's second largest military. Pakistan is a nuclear power. That combination carries enormous political symbolism. One analyst called it the emergence of a more regionally driven security architecture. But here's the real question. Why is the region looking for a new security architecture in the first place? The answer begins in 1916. During World War I, Britain promised Arab leaders independence if they revolted against the Ottoman Empire, from whose rubble modern-day Turkey emerged. Instead, Britain and France secretly negotiated the Sykes-Picot Agreement. Rather than allowing Arabs to determine their future, the two colonial powers divided Arabs between themselves. Borders were ignored, tribes were ignored, sects were ignored, history was ignored, and so were the wishes of millions of people in that region. The objective wasn't stability, it was imperial control. Those colonial borders remain largely intact today, but the consequences weren't merely geographical. Artificial states were created. Sectarian balances became political weapons. Codes were divided. Shia-Sunni faults were sharpened and embedded within state structures. Colonial administrators like Gertrude Bell helped create a modern Iraq under British supervision. The promises of independence gave way to decades of mandates, interventions, and authoritarian rule. Many of today's crises have roots in those decisions. Nowhere is that more visible than in the plight of Palestinians. The Balfour Declaration, the British Mandate, or the Nakba, or the catastrophe, or the driving away of Palestinians from their homes for Israel's creation, the ongoing war in Gaza. Few dispute that European decisions after the World War I profoundly shaped modern West Asia. For many governments in the region, recent conflicts have reinforced another conclusion, that the post-1945 American-led security order is no longer enough. That helps explain why Saudi Arabia is expanding its partnerships beyond Washington. The Mecca Joint Defense Agreement is about more than military cooperation. It represents three major powers saying that regional security requires increasingly regional solution and they cannot trust America, and whether this alliance succeeds remains to be seen, but symbolically it may represent something much larger. More than a century after Britain and France divided West Asia, countries within the region are attempting to build a security architecture of their own. If Sykes-Picot represented the age of colonial geopolitics, the Mecca Agreement may be remembered as the beginning of post-colonial one. And that's why this agreement deserves more attention. If you like this video, please like, share, comment, and follow.